on, everybody. Let's do this. Here we go! Come on, everybody. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey. That's me. Yeah. Oh, my please.
Hello Musketeers and welcome to Mondays with Mickey. My name is Mike Knigge and I am your host, and I'd like to take a moment and welcome those who've been following my channel back. For those who've been following my channel for a while, you're well aware that we kind of abruptly disappeared. We had some spotty episodes towards the end of the year last year, and then it just kind of disappeared. And I want to apologize, start off with, for that. We had some family things going on, a lot of stuff going on at work. We're very involved in Cub Scouts, so that plays a big role in it. Not to mention weather, holidays, the United States presidential election debacle, and all that jazz. So a lot of stuff going on in our personal lives, so we had to take a break. And I would have done an episode saying, hey, we're taking a break, but again, all that stuff kind of got in the way and kept me from being able to do that. So, again, I apologize for those who followed our channel regularly and want to know what happened to us, but we are back, and we will be putting out episodes every week from now on. So, and if I have to take a break, I will let you guys know. So, welcome back, and for those who are seeing this for the first time, welcome to the channel. Mondays with Mickey is primarily a Disney channel. All right, we talk about our love of Disney, what we as a family really enjoy about Disney. Try to give tips, tricks, and things like that. But not just Disney stuff. We also, bring you in on our family adventures. There's things that we do as a family to help build that family bond, that family cohesive unit that we want to share with you guys. So, like, our adventures through our Cub Scouts, or if we go on trips as a family, I'm going to share that stuff with you guys as well. But the channel is primarily about Disney. And that whole kit and caboodle that is Mondays with Mickey, the reason we're bringing it back is because of what we're all dealing with in the world today. The world is filled with nonstop negativity, and we felt that, we needed to bring something positive in front of people, something to help give a little hope, a little maybe some inspiration, and definitely at least to take our mind off of everything that's going on. For those who did follow the presidential elections here in the United States, regardless of what side you're on, I'm sure you can agree right now the world is very, very negative. And, one side of the fence says the other side of the fence is this way, and the other side of the fence is this side of the fence is that way. And everything in the media right now is about what is going on between these two sides. And we are all probably sick and tired of it. So, I wanted to bring something positive. And that's what Disney's great at. Disney's great at putting their focus on family and on stories and activities that foster great memories as families. They have great morals to their stories. Disney's all about inspiring imagination and helping people dream and getting those positive juices flowing. Today's word of the day apparently is positive. So, we wanted to bring Mondays with Mickey back. And so, without further ado, to the meat and potatoes of this particular episode. And that is Moana. Now, for those who have not seen Moana, I am about to go into a bunch of, not a lot of details, not a bunch of details, but I am going to talk about the general storyline of the movie and give my impressions of it. So, if you haven't seen the movie for some reason, even though it's been out for a while and it just came out on Blu-ray DVD, and you don't want to hear anything about the movie until you see it, I totally understand that. Take a second and end it now, and we'll see you guys next week. I'll give you a second. You're still here. Cool. All right. So let's talk about some Moana. All right. I want us to talk about a technical aspect first about the movie that I really love. Actually, we'll back up. I love the movie in general. I think it was a fantastic movie. I think that Walt Disney Studios is finally getting back into its stride of things. I love the fact that it's under the Walt Disney name, and it's great, and not under the Pixar name. Pixar is fantastic, but they have their style of animation that they do. You know, Marvel has their style of movies they do. Lucasfilm has their style of movies they do. The Disney side of things has been struggling for a long time, and being that is the parent company for all this, it's good to see that Disney is starting to put stuff out again that turns ahead and catches your attention. Moana. To the technical side of things, they brought in a fusion for this movie that hasn't really been seen yet, and they took classic hand-drawn animation and merged it with computer animation. I have a special place in my heart for hand-drawn animation. For me, it's very nostalgic. To me, hand-drawn animation is Disney. All right, when I see hand-drawn animation from Disney, it touches a special place in my heart because that is what brought Disney into where it is today. So this movie takes your digital animation. The movie's primarily digitally animated, and they actually had some of the old hand-drawn artists come in, and one of the main characters, his name is Maui. He's a demigod. He has tattoos showing all of his great feats. The tattoos are alive, and those tattoos are hand-drawn. So they were able to map over. They were able to take these hand-drawn animations and fix them onto a computer animated character. And seeing these animations, these traditional animations with the new animation working so seamlessly together is fantastic. It's almost like watching Roger Rabbit and seeing the old animations mixed in with live action. It's fantastic. It's definitely in my opinion, a groundbreaking thing, and I hope Disney does it more often because a hand-drawn animation is an art that shouldn't be allowed to die. And I was tickled to death that they were able to do this. So let's talk about the movie a little bit. Basically, the movie follows a young princess named Moana. She's destined to become a chief. She's the only child in her family, and she's drawn to the water, and like her father before. And there's a long story as why her father is no longer drawn to the water. You'll find that out in the movie, but she's drawn to the water. And at the beginning of the movie, you don't see her. You see Maui. He is going to steal the heart of Te Fiti. Te Fiti essentially is like a mother goddess of the world. When she lays down, she forms this island mountain range. And, she essentially looks like a mountain. And the heart of Te Fiti is a stone with this little spiral on it. And I'm sure you've seen it in previews, little spiral shape. So he decides he wants to steal this stone. And the reason he wants to steal it is because they believe that stone is the secret to creation. And he wants that power. Whether he keeps it for himself or gives it to the human race, we'll see. But he wanted to steal it. So he steals it. It creates this darkness that starts taking over the world. In fact, the main baddie, turns out later that the main baddie isn't just this demon that wants the stone too. It turns out it is actually Te Fiti, because once she loses her heart, she becomes dark and evil. And not really dark and evil. She's not really evil, but she is definitely dark and cold, heartless, because her heart's gone, and very just driven for a specific purpose to regain that heart. And that's a thing you figure out at the end of the movie, but, so he steals the heart, he escapes the demon, but the demon knocks the crap out of him. And he loses not only the heart, but he also loses his magical fishhook, which gives him the ability to shapeshift and do all of his cool stuff. So fast forward like 2,000 years later. Moana's a little baby girl, and she keeps going to the water. The whole being of her storyline is her trying to get to the water and her dad reeling her back. Well, at one point, she saves this baby turtle, and the ocean, which is a character, mind you, realizes that she is the one to return this stone. And the ocean's been holding the stone for thousands of years. So it gifts her with the stone. Now she ends up losing it, but her grandmother sees that she got it from the ocean, quietly keeps it for her. Fast forward years later, she's an adult, she's getting ready to become the new chief of the island. And, she's trying to figure out where she's going to go with her life. And her grandmother is the crazy lady of the village. And by crazy me, she is encouraging Moana to follow her dreams. And she reveals to Moana that she saw the ocean give her this stone at one point, and that not only did she see Moana get it and lose it, but that she retrieved it before it was too late. So she gives Moana the stone and reminds her of the story of Maui and how, he stole the heart, and that's why we have darkness in the world. And she says, you need to go find him and return this to save our village and save our world. So, long story about how she ends up on the ocean, because there's a lot of stuff that happens, but she ends up venturing off with this stone at her grandma's last wish, and she goes to find Maui. She finds him. He tries to trap her and steal her boat, but she catches up with him and finally eventually talks him into going to return this heart, even though he's terrified of it. Because, last time he even saw this heart, he got his butt kicked, and he was marooned for thousands of years. So he says, fine, I'll help you, but I need my fish hook. So they go and they find this fish hook, and, along the way they encounter bad guys like the Kokomoro, which are little coconut bad guys. They're pirates. They're cute, but they're like really evil. And, they have they can change their faces because they're essentially just coconuts. And one of them, if you look in the background, you can see Baymax. His face is dressed up like Baymax. It's kind of cool. So anyway, they get past the Kokomora. They get past these this giant crab monster and these other monsters. And they finally get there, and Teka is the name of the demon, as a matter of fact. They see Teka, and Teka beats them back. And, Maui's fish hook is heavily damaged. He's like, look, I'm not doing this. I can't do this again. I'm done. He walks away. And she's about to walk away, too. And then the spirit of her grandmother comes to her and talks her into continuing the journey. And so she takes up the challenge again. She goes to take the stone herself and replace it with Tafiti. And she gets there and she's fighting Teka, and she's at this moment. She's doing great, but she gets in this moment of peril, and here comes Maui out of nowhere, saves her butt. And she's like, well, I thought you were gone. And he's like, well, I couldn't leave you. And he helps her, he defends her all the way up until she goes to return the stone. And she goes to return the stone and realizes that the mountain range that was supposed to be Tafiti had completely disappeared. And that's the moment she realizes that Teka is not really a demon. Teka is that heartless form of Tafiti. And she's gotten up and she's gone searching for her heart. And so, long story how she comes to meet up with Tafiti or Teka and give her heart back. When she gives her heart back, it ends the darkness. Everything is happy. She even gives Maui a brand new fish hook and all that jazz, and forgives Maui for being a little brat and, stealing the heart to begin with. But, she goes home. Everything's better. It's just a very lighthearted movie. There's a lot of great symbolism in there as far as family and following your dreams. It's just an overall really good movie. The young lady that plays Moana, she is fantastic. She really embodies the character, not only in personality and voice, because all the singing's her, but she looks like the girl, and she's about the same age. I want to put this out there, that the girl playing Moana is only like 16 years old. This is her first movie, and she did an immensely amazing job. The guy playing Maui is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And anybody who's ever watched him wrestling and seen him in his other movies, the dude can be a real smart aleck, and he is perfect. He was meant to play Maui, and the fact that he's got that Samoan heritage helps too. He was the ultimate choice for Maui, and you'll understand if you haven't seen it yet, and you're going to see it, you'll totally understand. And if you have seen it and you know who I'm talking about, you totally get it as well. He was an amazing choice for Maui. So these two play off each other very, very well, and they bring depth to their characters. And on top of that, they took their time. Not the actors, but the writers. They took their time to properly research Polynesian cultures, because this is an island supposedly in the Pacific, and they really took their time to research the nuances of these cultures and to get people from these cultures to help them and guide them and make sure they didn't do something wrong. Now, yeah, they westernized it to some degree so that way we would get it, but they really took their time. You know, there was a point where they're talking about, in the special features, they're talking about, at one point, Moana's angry, and she's kicking coconuts. Well, she wouldn't do that, because coconuts are the source of life for people in those cultures. It's a food source. It's drink. They use coconuts to make, rope. They use the meat for, there's just tons of different things they use. Every piece of the coconut in the tree, they have ways of using it. So it is sacred to them. So she wouldn't be kicking that. So things like that, little details, little nuances like that, that people from those cultures were able to correct the direction that Disney was taking. So it's very, very authentic. And as a matter of fact, there's a point, not a point in the movie, but in the special features you'll see this. There was one of the chiefs that they visited on one of the islands. He made a comment about how Western culture, our culture, was swallowing his. And he was hoping that through this project, through this movie, his culture, for once, will have an opportunity to swallow us. And what he means by that, it's kind of like the saying, I see you, Wanata Kame, from Avatar. It's the, not I see you as a person, but I see you as who you are inside. The real you. And I think it comes to that, is that the point he was trying to make was that his people have been trying to be like us and adapt to us. And they've been losing some of their identity for years and years and years. And he was hoping that his culture will make an impression on us a little bit and maybe motivate us to learn more about who they are and what their traditions are. Because honestly, they have the whole Polynesian part of the world, your Hawaii, your Tahiti's, your, all the Polynesian islands out there, they have their own culture and their own unique flavor that shouldn't be lost just to mesh with the rest of the world. And that was his point. He was hoping that this movie would inspire our culture to learn more about theirs and excite people about their culture and their traditions and their history. And you know what? For me personally, I think it was a great success. I love the movie. I think not only from a standpoint of a classic Disney movie, with the music, which is amazing, by the way. Lin-Manuel Miranda did the music for the movie. Unbelievable. Great movie. Great music. It's classic Disney. It's got those morals of the stories in them. It's got the cultural aspect from the Polynesian Islands. It's a great movie overall. And that's just my personal opinion. You may or may not like it like I do. But I wanted to take a minute and at least talk about that movie and share how much I enjoyed it. And, I highly recommend it. I would, go out and see it. Borrow it from a friend if you're worried about buying it. Rent it on Redbox for $1. You're only losing $1 if you're worried about buying it. We hadn't actually seen it in theaters. We missed it in theaters. And partially because we didn't know much about it. We're like, whatever. But after it left theaters, we were, listening to some of the music. And we really got into the music and said, we want to see this. So when Disney Movie Club, which we're members of, said, hey, look, it's time. Do you want it? We're like, absolutely, we want it. Even if it was just originally just for the music, we wanted it. We wanted it. So we bought it, saw it, and we loved it. And I think you guys will too. So I hope you enjoyed my ranting. And I'm impressed that if you're still watching it, you're hearing me because I do rant and rave sometimes. So thank you for watching. Next week, I'm going to try to do a review of Doctor Strange. We actually got that movie before Moana, but I just watched Moana, and I'm excited. So I wanted to do that first. No offense to Doctor Strange. I love Doctor Strange too, by the way. We're going to talk about that next week. But this one's a Disney original. And that inspired me to do this first. Considering that this channel is primarily about Disney, I felt that should come first. So, hope you guys enjoy. Like I said, next week we're going to talk more about Doctor Strange. I've got some other stuff coming up in the following weeks. We're definitely going to touch back on some Disney news over the next couple weeks because there's a lot going on at Disney. So, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will leave you as I will leave you every week moving forward. Walt Disney said this best. I hope we never lose sight of one thing. this was all started by a mouse. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and we'll see you next week.